Allah, what does He command in Surah Talaq? He has encompassed, grasped, and encompassed everything in terms of knowledge and wisdom. What does it mean to grasp? Let's say when you hug someone, if you leave a slight gap behind and don't clasp your hands together, you are not truly grasping them. But when you clasp your hands together, then you have truly grasped them. Allah's knowledge has grasped all of creation, He says. What does grasped mean? Nothing remains outside of it. Nothing is beyond His knowledge. Indeed, what does Allah command in Surah Tabarak? Does the Creator not know? He says, what does this mean? Nothing can be created without Him creating it. It cannot come into existence. It cannot exist if nothing can be created without Him. And He creates everything, brings everything into existence from nothing. Then what could be more natural than Him knowing its number? You manufacture something, you produce a product. Now, wouldn't you know how many you produced with your own machine, in your own workshop? Can I know? No, I cannot. Now, indeed, does the Creator not know? He says, Allah commands, nothing can exist without my creation. If nothing can exist without Him, then of course He knows everything. But because you do not create or produce yourself, because you act through causes, you are constantly deceived. You cannot even count what is inside your own shop. You do inventory, it comes up short. You do inventory again, and it is in excess. You say, what kind of business is this, my friend? This stock was accounted for. What happened to it now? Since Allah is the one who creates, there is nothing easier than understanding that He knows. Why wouldn't He know? Because nothing happens without Him creating it. Since no one else is the Creator, even in the things people know best, their calculations get mixed up. His knowledge has reached even the most hidden things. He is aware of everything. There is a visible aspect of things and an unseen aspect. Every matter has an outward aspect and an inward aspect. You see a man who looks completely healthy, but inside he has cancer. You see another man who looks sick on the outside, but inside he is perfectly healthy. You look at someone and say, he won't live another 10 years, but he lives for 50 more. You look at someone else and say, what a strong, healthy man, and suddenly he dies from a heart attack. So Allah knows both the inner reality and the outer appearance. He knows what is visible and what is hidden. Why? Because He is the one who creates everything. So when we say Allah knows everything, does this even require proof? It is enough that He is the Creator. Now if you ask someone, does Allah create everything? They will say, Allah creates. If they say Allah does not create, they become a disbeliever. If they say there is another Creator besides Allah, they have committed shirk. This is something everyone knows. Allah creates. Then they ask, does Allah know who I will marry, teacher? And the teacher says, how would He know, my child? We are talking about Allah here, not your father, my brother. We are discussing the knowledge attribute of our Lord, the Creator of the universe. Can we speak without verses and hadiths? They call something existing when it has come into being. He has encompassed every existing thing in terms of knowledge. Allah is the one who knows everything perfectly and even more. Every existing thing. These are all verses. Then how can you still say, how would He know this? How would He know that? Whoever says Allah does not know details has been unanimously declared a disbeliever by all scholars. Not a single scholar has ever disagreed on this matter. All scholars have agreed that whoever says Allah does not know details or specifics is a disbeliever. What does juz'iyat mean? Allah knows me, but does He know what is inside me, what is in my intestines, what is in my veins, what is in my nerves, what is in front of me, what is behind me? Saying that He does not deal with such small matters and does not know them is disbelief. Because if every particle, every part, every cell within me exists, and if Allah knows every existing thing according to the Quran, if He has encompassed everything with knowledge, then what more is there to discuss? He knows what is before them. He knows what is behind them. He knows their future. He knows their past. He knows what has happened. He knows what will happen. Many verses state this. Why does He mention it in such detail? Down to every seed cast into the darkness of the earth, everything that is wet or dry. What does wet or dry mean? It means there is nothing outside of this. Everything is either wet or dry. In other words, everything. And not only does He know it, but He has also recorded it in the preserved tablet, written it down, and set its limits. He says we created everything with destiny. What does destiny mean? It means measuring and determining. What does this require? It requires eternal knowledge. Can you determine destiny without knowledge and wisdom? Can you set a measure? He says, I created everything in a measured way. Why? Because I have eternal knowledge beforehand. And since I already knew everything before it existed, its measure is determined. We can multiply the verses. Not even a leaf falls without Allah knowing it. He surely knows the falling of every leaf, He says. We created mankind and we know what whispers his soul gives him, He says. Even the whispers of his soul do not make a sound. A man sits here brooding like a turkey. The person next to him cannot know what he is thinking or planning. He says, I also know the whispers of his soul. We are closer to him than his jugular vein. He says, how can a Muslim who believes in these verses stating these attributes say that Allah does not know this or that? What does he not know? How could that be?